I'm Eric Novak, and beside me here is a 2020 Chrysler Pacifica. But this is going to be unlike any car review that I've done before. You see, this week that I had planned, this was March break, and we had lots of plans with a family vehicle to show what a versatile minivan can do. However, things have been different in the world than we're typically used to. We're in the middle of a global pandemic, COVID-19, the coronavirus outbreak, and everything has changed in that time. In fact, I was actually not supposed to even have the Pacifica as my family vehicle to review during March break. I actually had another automobile planned to review, but the automaker where I was booked with at the last minute decided to pull their entire press fleet in this area out of concerns for germs or however health issues they had. So it's been a scramble all around, and in fact, I possibly thought about not even doing this review at all because, hey, look, who's in the mood to do a car review? But at the same time, this is part of what I do for a living. It's how I derive some of my income through YouTube and from you watching and watching the ads and letting them play and such. So I thought, no, we're going to continue on. But instead of doing a typical feature on the benefits and all the typical ways I might do my 10 things to know about the 2020 Pacifica, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how the entire week that has been changed because of COVID-19. So the original plan was to demonstrate the versatility of a vehicle like the Pacifica here in March break. We were going to go up to a provincial park. We were going to head up to Algonquin Provincial Park, where we've, in last winter, we did a great March break winter hike with a friend of mine, Ben Stacy, and we had a great time. We were going to do that again, but the government of Ontario was closing earlier this week some of the public buildings at Algonquin, and it's a 2-3 hour drive without being able to go inside. Seemed 2-3 hours there and 2-3 hours back was not something we wanted to do. There's this whole idea now of social distancing, and we had to observe that. So my kids and I still found ways. Where I live, I'm 20-30 minutes from a lot of outdoor areas with forested trails. So we managed a couple of times to do some social distancing through nature hikes because schools are closed, public buildings are closed. We had to get outside, but still respect a distance between people. You want to keep 6 feet away from contact because of the spread of this germ. So we managed to do that. And where I teach, I'm a part-time professor at a college in Toronto. The school was completely closed this week, and we spent the week working towards online teaching. So in the extra time as well, I did some extra work with this Pacifica because there's a lot of people who are now quarantined. They are housebound for 14 days to make sure they're either not carrying it or they might be exposed to it and showing signs of COVID-19. And there's a lot of people who don't have vehicles. They're elderly. They are limited in mobility. So there's been a lot of good that's come out of this entire crisis so far. So I have a request I received from someone who is in isolation who apparently needs some banking done. I guess they can't use electronics, so the volunteer came out, and I'm going to see if I can help him and get the payment made that needs to be done. There's been this thing called caremongering happening. Facebook has seen some groups called caremongers where they've set up and basically have said, look, if you want to volunteer and help to offer assistance to those who are in self-isolation, who are suffering from COVID-19, sign up. And I did so, and there's been a couple of times this week where I've been able to use this Pacifica to transport some materials. The organizers asked me to pick up some printed materials, some flyers, and easily in this Pacifica there's a lot of room, so carrying a few thousand flyers was no trouble at all. I've had to help a couple people with some groceries and things like that. So, I mean, a vehicle of this size, had I needed to transport individuals, I mean, obviously with social distancing, you need a lot of space inside a car. And while the Pacifica does have that, I mean, it is a 3-row minivan. So I didn't have to transport anyone who was showing signs, but I suppose if it was necessary, I could have put them in the 3rd row and certainly would have observed the 6 feet at least of social distancing that we want to have. It's been a difficult week, and again, all sorts of plans that had been intended for a day or a week such as this, 10 things to know, it all went out the window when all of a sudden this pandemic is taking over across the world. Fortunately, we can still do this work, and fortunately, I can upload it. Some of you might be housebound and are binge watching on YouTube, and if that's the case, well, we're trying to give you fresh content as well. So please, if that is your case, I'd love for you to see the stuff I have on my YouTube channel. There's almost 300 videos there, and if you haven't subscribed, maybe you might want to consider doing so. I'm going to continue to find other vehicles. There are other manufacturers who are still letting their press vehicles out. I have nothing against the companies that pulled them back. They're doing what they think is best, but I will continue to find some other vehicles to review and post, so that if you're looking for new content, at least for me, you'll have that. But in the interim, that's all I can really say about now. This has totally changed the way things are, and it's going to be that way for some time still to come. I would only suggest that while you're watching, and I thank you for doing so, you please take care of yourselves. Observe all calls from public health officials and from government. We will beat this. This is certainly a moment in history, but we'll get past this if we keep our distance, if we keep determined, and we stay together. So that's it for this review in a very abridged and different version, a coronavirus edited take on the 2020 Chrysler Pacifica. I'm Eric Novak. Take care of yourself, and thanks for watching. There's plenty of ways for you to keep connected with me, so check out some of my social media links, suggested videos, and I'd really love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel.